Welcome to Block 1 of Cheshire Quilters Guild 2019 Block of the Month, Cat Den Mountain Quilts BOM. Block 1 is Clay's Choice, and for that we need to cut squares of our fabrics A and D and rectangles of our fabrics A, D, and E. So let me set these aside, because what we need to do first is to take our rectangles, take our rectangles, and on the back we're going to draw lines. So I'm going to draw a line through the center. It's a 4 by 8 rectangle, so at 4 inches I'm going to draw a line. I hope I drew it dark enough that you can see that line. And now, let me zoom in a little, maybe that will help. Yeah, so you can see the line that I drew right here. I used a green pencil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw diagonal lines in each of the 2 squares that we get when we draw in that middle line. So it's going to be a 45 from this corner down to the middle, and then from the middle up to the opposite corner, okay, so let me repeat that on the other rectangle and I'll meet you back here. Alright, I have my lines drawn on the back of my blue my fabric E rectangles, and so what I'm going to do now is layer each of those rectangles with either a fabric A or a fabric D rectangle. So there's that one, and this is right sides together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these to my machine and I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch away from each of the 2 diagonal lines. Don't stitch on the line that splits it in 2, just along the 2 diagonal lines. Once you've got that done, bring it back. Well, once we've got that done, we'll come back here and I'll show you what the next step is. Okay, so I've got my stitching done on both sides, or a 1/4 inch away of both sides of the diagonal lines. And so what's left to do now is to just cut these apart. So I'm just going to set my ruler on just to give me a straight edge, but I'm just cutting along the lines that I drew earlier. And when I do that, from one pair of rectangles I get 4 half square triangles. So the next thing to do is to take these to the ironing board, and I'm going to press the seams open. And I'll meet you back here when I've got all 8 of them, because you're going to get 4 from this one also, when I've got all 8 of them cut apart. So here are my 8 half square triangles, and I have them pressed. So the next step is to trim them up to 3.5 inches. So you can do that with a regular ruler that has a 45-degree line. Lay that on the seam. Make sure 3.5 inch is on the unit on all 4 sides, and then you can just trim 2 sides, rotate the unit, put the 2 trim sides on the 3.5 inch marks on your ruler, and trim. That's one way to do it. Or if you have a tool called the Tucker trimmer, or any other tool for trimming half square triangles, you can also use those. Tucker trimmer is nice because it doesn't have any other lines on it to confuse you. This is the side for cutting things to something in a 1/2 inch. It's got the half circle there. And I'll do the same thing. I trim 2 sides, rotate the unit, and trim the other 2 sides. Now, what I want to show you about the Tucker trimmer, said it's got fewer lines on it, and that's for, this side is for half inches. If I turn it the other way around, it's got lines for trimming things if I need them to a solid inch. So 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. We needed 3.5, so I used the side that had the half-inch mark on it. So I'm going to finish up trimming these to 3.5 inches, and I'll meet you back here and we'll see how the block goes together. Well, now you can see where I've arranged the 8 half square triangles and the 8 squares of plain fabrics A and D. So now it's just a matter of sewing the rows together. So I'm going to sew 4 pieces together into a row, 4 rows, and press the seams open. In the instructions, it says to press the seams to the right in the even rows and the left in the odd rows. So, but I think for this version of it, I'm going to press them all open. But you can go ahead and do what it says in the instructions. I'll meet you back here when I have my rows together. Okay, now that I have the rows assembled, now I'm going to put the rows together into the block. So I'm just going to pair these two, sew them up, and then sew these pairs together. When I get done, I'll bring it back here and show you what the Clay's Choice block looks like. And there you have it. Block 1 of Cheshire Quilters Guild 2019 Block of the Month, Cat Den Mountain Quilts, BOM. This is Clay's Choice, and so I'll see you back here next month when we do Block 2, Road to California. See you then.